All right, thanks to everybody that came out. Thank our fans for supporting our kids. A beautiful night. Happy to find a way to get the win. Thought Rhode Island had a great plan in terms of slowing the game down, holding on to the ball, and using those skill kids. So we talked about it early in the week. Those guys could play for anybody, and I still believe it. So, questions? They came out and played in one high. They've been a quarters team, played a bunch of one high, so we threw the ball a little bit more early.
In terms of that throw game, and I know it's just a second start, what have you seen from Hendon in terms of a progression, and what did you want to see in terms of progression in start two?
Well, I mean, I thought, the biggest thing is that he's taking care of the football in both starts. I've done a great job of that. There's some passes today that I know he wishes he had back, and there's some guys around him that could have made plays, or a few more plays that would have helped everybody feel like he played even better. But continues to seem to understand what we're asking him to do, and continue to put the ball where we'd like to, and then obviously is at times a weapon with the ball in his hands.
He had some good throws and completions moving the ball. Even the deep throw he missed to Damon, does it help with future opponents that you've put on film, hey, with this kid in, we're willing to throw the ball downfield?
I don't know. I've never thought of that. I'm just trying to execute what we're given during the game and find a way to win it. But yeah, I mean, he threw one poster out in the first half. I thought I didn't see the replay, but I thought it hit him right in the hands, perfectly in stride. I may be wrong, but that's what I felt like on the field.
You guys didn't start as fast as last week, but there weren't also 5 turnovers. How much does one explain the other?
We didn't start as fast because we didn't turn the ball over. Is that what you're saying?
No, because you didn't get turnovers in short fields.
Well, I don't know. Like, are you talking about the offense or the defense? Well, I mean, we punted one time, right? Is that correct? I mean, we had our first 3 possessions, we kicked a field goal and scored 2 touchdowns. Oh, I don't know. Like, yeah, certainly getting the ball on the 50-yard line certainly does help, no question. That's absolutely true. But I thought the guys showed up ready to play.
Are you seeing Hazelton kind of back pretty close to where he was last year? And considering how good he was last year, how much is that a good sign going forward for you guys?
Oh, I think he's getting there. I'm not ready to say that he's there. I mean, I'm certainly not being critical of Damon. He hasn't practiced a lot, and we're trying to work him back in. But we certainly needed him today. I mean, we basically had 4 healthy scholarship receivers today. So we certainly needed him to be good, and he was. But I think he knows he had an opportunity to be really, really good, and have a special night. But that's part of the process. He is coming along. I think he's feeling more comfortable, getting in more game shape, which certainly helps. I think the hamstring's feeling better.
They make it a 3-point game right out the half, and then Hendon leads a 93-yard drive. How important and what kind of stood out about that drive for you guys to immediately respond and make it a 2-possession game again?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple third down conversions in there. It's kind of what I think about. They kind of run together on me, but I was thinking James Mitchell made a play on the far sideline on third down. So you're right. I mean, that was a big momentum deal. I think we had a couple third down conversions in that drive, and that was a nice response by our kids.
2 real quick. Do you have an update on Trey Turner at all?
Yeah, he dressed out. Could have played.
And I know your focus is on the field, obviously, but when there are empty seats in the stands and things like that, Are you cognizant of that as a coach, or
Nope.
tunnel vision just on football?
Just football. We've got great fans. They do a great job supporting our kids.
I want to ask you about two different players. Tavion first, that throw, something you were waiting for him to kind of unleash, and his versatility as a true freshman, that you're able to trust him. I mean, is that rare for a guy that you're going to throw that much at just 5 games into his career, 6 games into his career?
Yeah, I'd say it's abnormal, you know. I really felt like we should have just burned that play, you know, when the snap was off and it was behind. Like, I told Hendon, like, something like that, and the snap's off, and we're just barely getting it off. Like, just eat it. Go get back to the line of scrimmage. We'll go play the next play. But in regards to Tavion, you know, certainly, I mean, he's shown a high IQ in terms of being able to digest information, and he is starting to play faster. You know, I was a little critical. I didn't feel like he was really playing as fast as he should have played early in the year. He's thinking a lot. Seems to be more reactionary now and kind of caught up to the speed of the game. And that's not normal for young players. Everybody's different, but quite often it takes a little more time to get caught up.
And then Taj Gary, I mean, I asked you about him at signing day. You said, we just hope he's healthy. I mean, because he suffered a pretty horrific injury. Just for him to have that moment, I mean, I know they stole away that touchdown, but what's it like to kind of get him in the game, just to kind of, you know, a milestone for him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it just speaks a little to the miracle of modern medicine when you think about what he's been through. And, you know, he ran with us in the summer and wasn't in very good shape, understandably, but I would marveled at what he was able to do in the summer, and then has just continued to get more confidence and stronger throughout fall camp, which we kind of obviously we're cautious with him, but now, you know, he's ready to go see if he can contribute. You know, I think he's kind of up to speed, and you know, he brings something a little different than what we have. He's got size. I mean, it'll be interesting to see you know, how he continues to develop as the season goes along, but I do think it's pretty remarkable. I mean, I would have never even considered that on signing day that we would have discussions about playing him in a game. I think it's pretty amazing.
Coach, you've had your 2 highest scoring outputs of the season, and Dalton Keene, I know, has had his 2 biggest games the past 2 weeks. How important has him and James Mitchell been on kind of getting this offense to its highest scoring outputs?
Well, they're huge. They are really competitive, highly intelligent guys that line up all over the field. I mean, we ask them to do a little bit of everything. But I think their production is a byproduct of being able to run the football. In addition to their talents, I'm certainly not taking anything away from them, but just in general terms, if you're able to run the ball, it's a little bit easier to get the ball to the tight end position. And the last couple of weeks, we've at least been, you know, we've at least threatened people enough running the football that we've been able to get some easy completions to those guys that have turned into bigger plays.
Lucidas, did he go down with an injury early on?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
And then Austin Cannon's come in, you know, short up that left guard. He was at right guard last week, rotating. What's he kind of help with that flexibility there with the depth? How happy are you with him?
Yeah, we kind of refer to that as artificial depth. When you've got a guy that can play or back up more than one spot, you know, it's as if you have more guys. And Austin has proved his worth time and time again to this football team, and it's nice to see him getting out there contributing.
Did you see the Reggie Floyd play? He was upset afterwards when he got called for targeting. Did you see the play, and was he upset about his hit, or was he upset just about the defense was called? Did you see anything after what happened with that play?
I don't know. I mean, I hate the rule. Not that I mean, we usher them out like they're, you know, like I wish we could bring them over to the sidelines and not play them, but we usher them out. Like, you know, it's just not good. I don't think. I'm not talking about the call. I'm certainly not being critical of that. I understand the safety and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I didn't see him. They threw him out and he walked out. You know, so I'm not sure. I can't speak to. I'm sure he was upset that he wasn't going to get to play. You know, as far as the call, I mean, it looked like the definition of targeting to me.
I know you don't spend a lot of time looking at the standings and things like that, but the fact that the Coastal Division is the way it is, does that help keep the motivation going for this team, knowing that your goals are kind of still out there for you?
No. I mean, we won't talk about that one time.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Is that yours?
It's not. I've got mine over here. I don't trust you guys. I keep it close. I don't know how much you saw or what they told you on the headset, but the Reggie Floyd play, the ejection, was it the right call, and how does that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at it. It looked like it was on the field. You know, that's part of the game. We got to, you know, we can't lower our head and hit with the crown of the helmet. The disappointing thing, that ball, it shouldn't even have been a factor in that. You know, we were playing a coverage that Reggie was what we call our hole player, and you know, I bet we've had close to 100 picks with that coverage by that guy, and you know, and that's how I would have liked for him to pick the ball instead of being in a position to get ejected from the game. You know, that's kind of, you know, would be my biggest thing on that, is that shouldn't ever happen. But that is part of the game now, and we've got to, you know, those guys, and we don't teach that, but you know, we'll have to respond next week, because we'll miss him for the first half anyway of this next ball game.
Miami, you guys struggled again with big plays today with two good receivers, a good quarterback. It seemed like you did a nice job limiting the big plays. Were you happy with that aspect?
Yeah, you know, we gave up a big play. It was 3rd and 19. They went empty. I could have dropped 8, but I brought pressure, and it was going to be one of those if he held it, which I felt like if he's going to try to throw it down the field, we'd sack him. We knew their exit was quick underneath throws, and we'd practiced it a ton this week. And we just it was poor execution on our part. But you know, we didn't give up any big plays there. They did run the counter. They had the one run early in the third quarter. I brought an edge pressure. They checked. I probably should have checked out. If that's one call I'd like to have back. But for the most part, you got to give Rhode Island credit. Their quarterback played a lot better than I thought he could, and that he has shown. But I thought 6 and 8 were coming into this game. And, you know, when I talked to you guys earlier in the week, I felt like those guys could play at a lot of places. And I'm not just talking at that level. I'm talking at our level. I mean, they were long, athletic, could catch the ball, great ball skills. My hat goes off to those guys. They played their best football game of the year as far as Rhode Island. But I thought we were a little sloppy at times. I mean, you know, when we have a chance we had a sack and we line up offsides. I mean, that's inexcusable just to do that. I mean, we want to crowd the ball and get as much of it, but we can't be offsides, you know. And then we turn around and have a pass interference penalty right after that. And I mean, those are just things that we have to eliminate.
Seems like every time you bring Shamari Connor on a blitz, he's getting right after the quarterback. How gifted, I guess, is he specifically as a blitzer? And then you've mentioned kind of other players that they remind you of, former players. Who does he maybe remind you of?
You know, that's a good question. Number one, well, yeah, it's great to see him coming off the edge. They got into a tight formation, and we blitzed it earlier, but we blitzed more of a man coverage look. They ran a counter play out of it, and I felt like then we brought a field pressure where we're bringing him off the edge and wiping our front to kind of where they were running the ball, and then they threw it. But yeah, he gets better and better every time he blitzes. He's a physical guy. You know, who can I compare him to? I'm not for sure yet. The one thing that he does do and what he does give us, he gives us some coverage ability as a big body. That is a thumper a little bit in the run game, but also, you know, he's shown the last few weeks that he can be very disruptive as a pass rusher. And that position for us, when we can get that position, that's a productive performer. You know, we can go look back at our history. That position, we can make a lot of plays at that spot, and you know, he's showing that right now. I don't know if we've had one quite as big and as physical as him in a while. But that can run, and that's exciting for us. And you know, he just continues to get better each and every week.
Did you think about dropping 8 more than you did? You were aggressive. You didn't want to give him time. What was kind of the strategy behind?
Yeah, a
some
little
of the
bit of
things?
both. I mean, we'd practiced dropping 8 quite a bit, but I just felt like I wanted to get a little bit after him, a little bit more 4-man rush, a little bit. With the tight end in the core area, they were a lot of slide protection. You know, I was concerned, and they hit us on a play with our linebackers, with some of our fire zone and our trap coverage stuff, with our linebackers running with number 6 or number 8, and they banged it on us, you know, down the field down there, and that was my biggest concern. I ran it one time, and they hit what I was concerned about. So they kind of made it tough with bringing pressures. He was getting rid of it so quick, and that was part of it too. You know, we mixed in playing some man free. We mixed in dropping 8. We mixed in playing quarters. We even played a little bit of 3 deep here at the end a little bit. Made him hold it a little bit, which we were able to get a couple sacks at the end of the game.
And what were your initial impressions with Deshaun not playing Norrell and Mario? And
We'll look at it. I mean, they really didn't try to run the ball a whole lot. They couldn't run it when they did try. Other than the one play, I kind of blitzed myself out of it, or blitzed our kids out of it. We'll go back and look. I know we probably had some containment issues with the quarterback moving around. That you know, those guys, we got to make sure we do a good job of not running by the quarterback and creating lanes for him to escape or you know, step up and make some throws. But those guys continue to improve, and it's important to them. I'm excited about them, and you know, we'll take a look at it. But I'm excited about them and how hard they play and how hard they compete.
But after the Duke game, there were a lot of questions about confidence, you know, psyche of the team and stuff. What did 2 wins in a row kind of do to kind of turn that around and maybe put a little more bounce in everyone's step?
Well, I hope so. I hope it will do that. I mean, the one thing that, you know, you've got to guard against, and the one thing that we've challenged our kids about is there's a standard, there's an expectation around here to play at a high level all the time. And, you know, even in the past when we won a lot of games, it wasn't that we just show up and dominate people. We went out and earned it, you know, and that's where we've got to continue with this group. And I've said it before, is our practice habits need to continue to be at a high level, you know, and that's one thing with young players that they've got to learn to understand, that we expect them to practice like they play, and that makes Saturday a little bit more easy. And that's what gives you a chance, you know, and it always has. And, you know, but if you know, we've got to play to a certain level. I always tell them, the guys that sat in these seats before them, the fans that sat in this stadium, they expect us to play a certain way defensively. And that's where we got to get back to. When you do that, then that gives you an opportunity to win. If you play down to your opponent, then you're opening yourself up to, you know, a lot of questions as far as close ball games and that type of thing. And that goes back to our habits. And then once those habits come into play, then I think that's where the confidence comes back into play a little bit more.
Do you have anything else for Coach Foster?
Thank you, guys. See you on Tuesday.
Dalton, obviously the goal is to come out and win, but is there any level of frustration that you don't have a more dominant performance against a team like this as you're getting ready to step back into ACC play?
I mean, absolutely. But at the end of the day, we came home with the win. We realized that we need to get better. I mean, we see that it's pretty clear. So what we're going to do is go watch the film tomorrow and get right back to work. I mean, there's no other answer to it other than that.
Hendon is obviously going to grow game to game, week to week. What steps, if any, could you point to that you saw him make in his second start, maybe different from the first or better this time around?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job. You know, he brings a whole new aspect to the game with his run game. So I think he's done a really good job of that. He looks comfortable back there, which I was pretty happy with. A lot of times when you have a new quarterback, you know, especially in these big home games, they could get a little nervous, but he's composed back there. He's a leader in the huddle, and you know, he's one of those guys that you can look to. He'll calm you down. You know, we got some freshmen there on the O line, and he's done a really good job of leading them even.
You, as a freshman, and you came in, and you know, you played, but you limited what you did. With Tavion and what they've been able to give him, do you kind of marvel at a player that comes in, he's thrown a pass in his sixth game or whatever? You know, how much responsibility they've put on his shoulders. Does that impress you as somebody who you've been through it, obviously been a freshman and know how challenging that is?
Yeah, it's definitely impressive. I mean, Tavion, he's an electric player, and he makes us better when he's out there on the field. So it's awesome to see that. You know, he's another one of those guys that's just relaxing there. It just seems natural for him. I mean, he's one of those guys that doesn't really panic, you know, and we can count on him when it's crunch time. So I was really happy to see that. We got a lot of young guys that are like that.
Have you gotten a nickname yet for all these touchdowns?
Gotten a nickname?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Are you like cooking dinner for Hendon 3 nights a week or something?
I need to. Absolutely, yeah.
Damon Hazelton, I know he's not completely healthy, but he's back. He's having an impact. What does he add to the offense, and how much does that help open things up having him out there?
Yeah, I mean, he's almost like a tight end out there, just a big receiver, powerful. When you get the ball in his hands, he's going to break a couple tackles like you saw out there today, and you know that's something that we need. He's just an explosive player, and he's hard to bring down.
And Coach Fuente said that the emergence or being more productive in the run game has particularly freed things up for you and James Mitchell from your spots. Do you see that, and why is it that running the ball makes it particularly easier for your position to catch passes?
I mean, really, we need to be able to excel in every aspect of the game. I think when we're able to run the ball well, it really brings the linebackers down, and they got to really respect that. And then, you know, it opens up stuff over top for me and James and the rest of the receivers as well.
They make it a 3-point game coming out of the half and then immediately go on a 93-yard drive. What did you kind of see from Hendon during that drive? Like you kind of mentioned commanding the huddle and just different things from like that to immediately respond and then cap it off with your touchdown.
Yeah, there was no panic in the huddle, and I mean it started with Hendon. You know, he's like I said, he remained composed. He's calm back there. It seems natural for him, and that's really cool to see. You know, especially because he had almost no experience before this past 2 weeks. So it was really good to see that, and everyone else. I mean, we just made some plays, which was awesome. We were able to run the ball, and that opened up a lot of other things.
Anything else for Dalton? Okay, thank you very
Cool.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you coming in.
Oh dang, yeah. Oh yeah, it feels that way. I just feel like right now we have some momentum, and I think our mentality has gotten way better, and I think we just need to keep working, keep going hard at practice, and keep having that mentality, and it'll keep going in the right direction.
Is there any frustration level that, this is the kind of program that Virginia Tech has traditionally blown out by 4 or 5 scores? Is there any frustration to not be able to win in that fashion?
I could say a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like as long as we keep going out there and playing, keep executing, we got to keep learning how to get better, just little things and things like that should have helped us tonight, but not just tonight, in all previous games and forward. But, yeah, I mean, a little bit, but every game is going to be a tough game. Every opponent is going to play us tough, so we just got to come out there ready to play every game, every play. So, yeah.
They were able to beat you in the first half, some of those quick slants and crosses and things like that. So that's stuff a lot of defenses completely shut down, but didn't have as much success in the second half. Did you take some things away from them in the second half, or did they go away from you?
We kind of switched our coverage. They was kind of manipulating us a little bit in the coverage we was running at first from what we had seen at film. And we kind of switched our coverage and kind of just zoned off a little bit more, had us scooted back, and just came up and make it and, stop it as soon as they catch it. Just don't let them get no yards after the catch.
You've been around here a little bit. You kind of touched on it a little bit. How much better is the mentality in the locker room now after the last 2 weeks compared to like after Duke?
I think it's a way better mentality, not just from Duke, but previous before Duke and everything. I just think now we're coming with the mentality that no matter what happens in the game, adversity or not, whatever happens, good or bad, we got to keep playing. The next drive, the next play, whatever, we got to keep doing what we're doing, focus in and hone in on that play and that possession, and keep playing hard and playing Virginia Tech football.
I know when you're working, your focus is the next opponent, one game at a time and all that, but you're aware of the ACC Coastal and the standings and the fact that half of the league's kind of still wide open. Does that help keep this team motivated, knowing that all your goals are kind of still out there?
I technically don't really pay attention to, like, the rest of the ACC Coastal. I watch games, but I really don't know the standings like that. Some people might. I'm pretty sure that helps every team if they feel like they have a chance to win. But I think at the end of the day right now, we're kind of just focusing on us as anything. Like, we're not worried about other teams, just focusing on us. And as long as we do what we're supposed to do, I think we'll be fine.
I know you'll probably have a better answer after a week of practicing, but Reggie with the targeting, and he'll miss the first half. How important is he to your defense, and kind of how will it be in your mind?
He's very important. Leader, a senior, guy who's played 3 years, started 3 years, and brings energy all the time. And I know he's going to keep his confidence up and keep helping us push our confidence. But since I've been here, it's always been whoever next man up, everybody has to play, and that's what we plan for, like, for anything to happen. So whoever comes in next, I have full faith that they're going to be ready, and we're going to support them and whatever happens for next game.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Did you throw up at all today?
Nah.
Oh, you're good. When you play in a team that the expectation is you should blow them out, and then you win a competitive game, is it frustrating at all that it wasn't more lopsided?
Yes, but basically we just need to execute more. Like, that's what we do in practice. Like, we just have to execute. Like, have a good day of practice. Today we had a few slip-ups, but we're going to correct them tomorrow.
You gave up a number of big plays against Miami, and this game were much better, I thought, in terms of limiting big plays. How much of a focus was that, and how happy were you with what you limited there?
I felt pretty good. I improved from last week, but I can always get better, though.
More questions? Mike? I know you guys take the one game at a time approach, but the fact that the ACC Coastal is so wide open, it's still out there for somebody to win. Does that help keep the motivation and the spirits up for this group?
Yeah, but I really don't keep up with the teams in the ACC like that. So, but I know this upcoming week, we're going to love to compete. So it's going to be a challenge.
now that you've been out there a bunch with Reggie on the field, for Reggie Floyd, for him to be ejected and for him to miss the half next game. How do you think that'll impact you, and how important is he to your defense?
He's very important. He's a senior. He's a leader on the defense. He keeps us going. But I think Dale's going to be ready. He pretty prepared. I believe in him. And our teammates going to believe in him. And we got his back.
You had your first career sack today. What's that like when you come off the edge and it's just you and the quarterback that you see there?
At first, I thought he was going to slip out my hands, but it felt pretty good just getting up off the ground and, like, your teammates just running towards you. And then also, like, Dax jumping up in the air with me. So I felt pretty good.
Looking ahead the next week, you guys take on one of the schools from your home state, North Carolina. Is there a little extra, as a North Carolina native, is there a little extra intensity or excitement to go compete against a school that I assume has a lot of players that you competed against for 4 years in high school?
Yeah, but I look at that team as every other team. Just go out there and compete and challenge. Beat them every play.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in.
Five completions of over 25 yards today, and another one that probably would have gone for a 71-yard touchdown if Damon could have hauled it in. Was there sort of a conscious effort to look downfield a little bit and try to exploit him over the top?
It wasn't. We just came in with the mindset to win, and as the game came on, it gave us looks to go up top, and we took advantage of them.
You guys either produced a first down or scored on third down 7 of your first 9 third downs, which is pretty efficient, obviously. How focused were you guys once it got to the third down? Seemed like there was a little extra amount of focus for you guys.
I kind of felt the same focus throughout the whole game and throughout every job. We just try to convert first down, keep the chains moving.
A lot of times when a guy is described as a dual threat quarterback, he can kind of almost become obsessed with proving he has the passing part of it. Mm-hmm. Where does that kind of fit in with kind of what you want to show?
Well, actually, I wasn't a dual threat quarterback until I got to college. So, I was rather slow in high school. So, just pretty much just feel like I can run the ball, but I'm a quarterback. I can throw the ball.
Do you like being considered a dual threat quarterback?
It doesn't matter to me. I love to play the game of football.
And your affinity for throwing long when they give you that. I mean, what did you say to Damon when, I think Coach Fuente said it looked like it was right in his hands, and that's what it looked like to us. What do you say to somebody when something like that happens?
We're just going to move on to the next play. We're not going to hang our heads on the previous play that didn't go our way.
Back to him, man. All right. Hendon, back here, sir. First of all, congratulations on the victory. I got to ask you, I talked to your parents over at Hokie Village over there, and when I talk about you to them, they just have so much pride and they beam and they care and love you so much. Just wanted to ask you, how important is your family to you and the impact that your parents as well as your siblings has had on you, not only on the gridiron but off the gridiron?
Well, my relationship with my family is extremely tight. We're a close-knit family, and they give me tips and pointers on and off the field. So just taking that and running with it has helped me to get to this point.
Obviously, it's a different opponent, so it's a different game plan. But it seemed like there was more on your plate in the passing game this week. Does it feel like the coaching staff is adding more for you kind of as you go along here?
Not really. We come out with the same mindset every week. And like I said before, whatever they're giving us, that's what we're going to take. So they gave us a look to throw the ball, so we did.
Dalton also mentioned that in the huddle, you've done a really good job with like the young offensive linemen, keeping them focused, keeping them straight. Is that something it's in your mind? Like, hey, I've got some young guys in the line. Does it just come naturally? What goes into your mind when you're doing that?
Really just trying to keep people motivated. You know, if it's the line, the receivers, everyone, just trying to keep everyone's head up and keep them moving forward in a positive direction.
Do you have to remind yourself that, like, as you're in the huddle, like, keep these guys in it, or is it just?
No, it's just natural.
Your impressions of Tavion now, his form on that throw is pretty good. I mean, what they're throwing at him as a freshman, how impressive is that he's able to handle all that?
You know, very impressive coming in year one, but we don't look at it like that. You know, we need everyone in the on the team to do their job so we can win.
And Taj Gary got his first touches of his career. Don't know how much you knew about his injury, but how happy was the team for him? And was that kind of a meaningful moment for his young career?
It was. I remember on Taj recruiting, he was on the crutches, and he was telling me they hurt his femur, and I was really excited for him to get in and get to showcase his talent today.
Obviously, there's been a huge change in how many points you guys are scoring. You're scoring a lot more. Is it confidence on offense, or do you think that you guys are just gelling together because we're almost halfway into the season?
Well, I feel like it's a team effort and us just moving forward and getting accustomed to being in game-like situations, just gelling together.
How is that process going of gelling with Damon and kind of developing a rhythm with him, especially since he was out for the first part of the season there?
We're just trying to do as best as we can. Day in, day out, we're just going to improve on little things and take our game to the next level.
People have talked about your poise in the huddle, just your calm demeanor. Where does that come from for you?
Just love of the game. I love going in the huddle, calling long plays, orchestrating people, telling them where to go. It's just love of the game.
And in that 93-yard drive that you guys had right after they make it a 3-point game, specifically that pass to James Mitchell down the sideline, what did you see on that on a third down pass? And just to put it right into the breadbasket pretty much.
I saw a great matchup. Safety rotated. He wasn't able to get off the hash and get over top. So I took the fade. James made a great play, kept the chains moving.
Hendon, the tight ends have seemed to have a big role over the past 2 weeks in the passing game. How important have they been for you, one, acclimating to being a starter for Virginia Tech in two very different situations, and what have you seen from them that has helped them be so productive?
They're a great room. They call themselves the T unit. So the T unit is, one of the top tier, positions in our offense. But everyone in our offense has helped me hit the ground running and keep the offense moving in a positive direction.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Damon, I know you're maybe not 100% all the way back, but how good does it feel to have a day like that, just short of 100 yards, 2 touchdowns?
Feels good just to win. Just in general, it feels good to win.
What was it like? Take us through the score where you had, it looked like 2 stiff arms to get Rhode Island defenders off you. When do you decide that that's the move you're going to use to get rid of that guy?
I think it's just instincts. Coach has been telling me before the play, like, we're going to throw it out there quick. He's just saying, like, shoot up the field. You're a big guy. They're going to bounce off you. So.
You had the 2 big scores there in the first half, but I know you're probably killing yourself on that one where you got a couple steps and looks like you had it in your hands and probably would have been a 71-yard touchdown. Is that something you just kill yourself after? You try to move on as quickly as can? It's got to be hard, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm still dealing with that, to be honest. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself about that because I would like to have that play back, but nature of it, you can't get the plays back. So I think we just got to go to work. I know that's the only way to solve it. Just focus a little bit better and, go back into the lab with Hendon and get, better timing, better chemistry.
Damon, how close are you to kind of being at the level you were last year? And given how good you were last year, how tough is it to get back to that level?
I don't know. I think it's all a matter of opportunity. I'm not really, I feel good. I feel great. So I don't think I wouldn't say I'm not at the level that I was at. I think it's just the way things are played out this season when, dealing with the time that I came back and, Duke game, we didn't throw the ball much. And then last week, the tight ends were on fire. So that's just how that game went. I think so. I wouldn't say I'm not back to where I was last year. I think it's just a matter of, how the chips fall on game day.
You said in your first answer that all that matters is getting the win. This was a game, though, that a lot of people expected you to maybe blow them out. Is there any level of frustration that this team hasn't been able to put it together to the point of, really putting somebody away?
Yeah, it's a level of frustration with that. I think we are still learning. Being young, we're still trying to learn and figure out how to put guys away, put teams away like that. Like you're saying, just, Coach says developing a killer instinct, and I think we're still working on that. But, I think at the end of the day, we won, and that's ultimately the goal. So we're not satisfied, but we did what we were supposed to do.
On 7 of your guys' first 9 third down opportunities, you either produced a first down or you scored. You also had 5 receptions of 25, or pass plays of 25-plus yards, over 25 yards, should I say. It seems like you guys were just a lot more focused today in big play situations, taking advantage of things, taking advantage of those third downs. Did you feel like you guys had more of a focus offensively today during stretches than you have in the past?
A focus as in all the players being more focused?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it was more of a focus just because of the game or whatever. I think these kind of games, you don't try to underestimate anyone, but I think games like this, when you are playing like an FCS opponent, you have to be a little bit more focused just because, the stigma, they're not Power 5 or anything like that. So I think it requires a little bit more focus.
You talked about getting back out there to work on your chemistry with Hendon. Where would you say your chemistry is right now with Hendon?
It's pretty good. I think it's just, I know it's just like a small minor detail, like minor details and, getting my eyes back on my part. I think, I got to do a better job of locating the ball quicker. Sometimes I take too many steps down the field before I turn back and look for the ball. So I got to work on that, and it's minor details in his release or whatever it is, but we just got to get on the same page, nonetheless.
Yeah, can you take us through those 2?
Damon, how important have the tight ends been both in increasing the scoring output? The past 2 weeks have been your 2 highest scoring games, and then secondly, also have they helped create space for you and the other receivers to make more plays, given their increased threat to opposing defenses?
Yeah, our tight ends are doing a great job this year. They're very dynamic, and the room is deep. So, hats off to those guys. They're playing really good, and, that's an asset for our offense, and look forward to them continuing to make plays.
What do you remember about those 2 touchdown catches you had, how they unfolded from your point of view?
Just routine plays. I think I left a lot of plays out there on the field, but they were just routine plays. Just simple things like a hitch or a fade ball.
Yeah, I'm curious with Hendon, and I know they're going to bring him along. He keeps getting better game to game. we saw him add some things today. How much more do you think there is, especially the passing part of his game, that we're going to see develop over the next few weeks?
I don't know. I mean, I know Hendon can throw the ball. Like, that's not a question. What they decide to do and what position they decide to put him in on game day, that's not in my hands. So I don't know. I just do what I'm told.
Final question.
The painted nails, why green? And are you trying to start a trend in the wide receiver room?
No, I'm not trying to start a trend. It's just something that I wanted to do personally. And green means go. It's like go time, you know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.